The majority of consumers, they love a good first-person shooter. I mean, look at Call of Duty. It tops the sales charts like every year. It really doesn't matter how bad a COD is. It's always going to be a top seller. And, it's one of the best-selling franchises of all time. And it's probably the only Battle Royale next to Apex Legends that is even giving Fortnite any sort of competition out there. I remember on the 7th generations of consoles, there was just countless different types of first-person shooter games. A lot of them wanted to compete with Battlefield, some of them tried to be the next Call of Duty, some of them even tried to kill off Halo. None were really successful, but the other day, my local retro game store moved locations closer to my house, and I checked out some of the games they were selling, and I decided to make this new episode on forgotten first-person shooters. So with the courtesy of the Series X being able to play some Xbox 360 games, we're back on the 360 platform for yet another episode. Before we continue with today's episode, I just want to mention an interesting statistic I got by looking at my YouTube analytics. 99.5%, and that is a real number, I'm not making that up. 99.5% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed. Which is, I'm very grateful to you who have subscribed, all 53 of you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for subscribing. But if you haven't subscribed, YouTube is trying to push my content into your feed because you and I probably share similar interests, which is awesome. I love talking about video games, and I like talking about old video games and games you might not know about on this series. So if you like what you're seeing here and you want to see more and you want to know when I upload, just subscribe and you will have my videos at your convenience. So with that out of the way, let's check out some old Xbox 360 shooters on the 5th episode of 3 Games, 3 Impressions.
It's 2024, the 21st century. People ask me how we let this happen. I tell them, we always knew. The storm is coming.
Back when THQ was still a thing and they didn't go totally bankrupt, they released their Battlefield competitor, Frontline's Fuel of War. This game is about an Earth that is stuck in a perpetual war over resources. You play as the American side because, who else would you play as? And you fight the bad guys called the Red Stars, who are totally not Russians. They're Russians. The campaign plays like a Battlefield multiplayer match with bots. You essentially play on these gigantic maps with these situational objectives, like stealing a tank schematic so you can use it later on or deploy them in later missions. And you pretty much go from point A to point B to point C. And it's usually through 1 or 2 maps. It's usually you fight through one big map, loading screen, and another big map, you win. The interesting thing here is you play as nameless soldiers, so when you die, there's no going back to the last checkpoint. You go back to your last spawn point, but that's not the same thing because the battle's still going. So therefore, whoever you just got killed, he's a goner. He's gone for good. He's not coming back. And you're just a totally new soldier. So yeah, man, war is hell. There's a lot of cool things you can use, like some cool gadgets like drones and missile strikes. You can just grab some armored vehicles, and there's class variations too. I think you can actually play online. I'm not sure really what the rules are. I know the dedicated servers are gone, but I think you can connect to someone who's hosting a match. And it doesn't have to be a private match. It can be a public hosted match, which is still kind of cool. So it's a peer-to-peer connection thing still. But this game came out in 2008. I did join a match. That's how I figured it out. But it was one guy. He switched teams, punched me in the face. I died, scared the hell out of me. I really wish I recorded it, but I did not, alas. But yeah, I'm going to give Frontline's Fuels of War an impression score of 7 out of 10.
Watch yourself, Joe. You're on Datadyne property now. Our employer wants you to break in. Undetected. Mega corporations don't take kindly to intruders. Security is tight. Cameras, laser tripwires. Nothing you can't deal with, but I'm on hand just in case.
This is a game where you can stoop a little low and make fun of the title. Usually I think I'm above that, but I'm not. There's nothing perfect about Perfect Dark Zero. In fact, the possibility of me ever willingly playing this game again is zero. This game should be cast out into the dark voids of space and forgotten. Alright, those are my jokes. I'm done. Anyways, this game was made by Rare during their flop period where everything they released was just not good. If you don't know who Rare is now, then if you played Sea of Thieves, well, congratulations, you played a Rare game. It's them. It's those guys. This game is a sequel to the GoldenEye spiritual successor, Perfect Dark, which people liked, but I don't think anyone ever really liked Perfect Dark Zero, and I can see why. You play as Joanne Dark, and you're a spy, but to be honest, I don't really know what's happening in this game. It starts so abruptly, and I think you get mixed in with, like, a criminal organization. I don't know, and it just all goes to hell really fast. The mission design is awful, by the way. This game, it has no idea if it wants to be like stealth focused or a third-person shooter or just a first-person shooter. So it just does all three at once, and it does it really bad, really terribly. It's awful. The controls are just some of the worst I've ever had the pleasure or displeasure of using. It's so bad. Like, you roll very awkwardly. The shooting's just not good. I just don't get it. It's just not fun. The enemies are weird, and not in the sense that they're just bad designs or weird designs. No, they just say, like, weird things, or their death noises are really weird. I don't know what was going on in that recording booth, but it was not good.
It's just a girl.
Like seriously, these are some of the weirdest death noises I've ever heard. The cutscenes are also bad. I mean, like, it has the same amount of unnecessary action like a Zack Snyder movie. Just like, you'll just be watching it and you'll be being like, oh man, what? There's no way I'd ever, in the right state of mind, play this game again. However, if you want to see me torture myself, then I'll play the whole thing through once. But only if I hit 100 subscribers at any point this year. 100 subscribers. That's all I'm asking. That's all it will take. So I guess I did lie earlier when I said that the possibility of me playing this was zero. But it's near zero. Anyways, I'm going to give this an impression score of 2 out of 10. Do not play this game. Do not.
Kind of massive explosion. If anyone was inside, I don't see how they could have survived.
Timeshift was made by Saber Interactive, who recently went independent from the tyrannical Embracer Group, who has been closing and laying off developers and game studios like crazy. So congratulations, guys, you're free. So Timeshift was released in 2007, and it was affected by what I call the grayscale plague, where everything that was released around this time that wanted to be a shooter was gray, like Call of Duty. And well, Timeshift is very gray, like almost too gray. However, the shooting is actually really fun, because you play some guy who stole a suit that can control the flow of time that allows him to speed it up, pause it, or reverse it. It's pretty fun. It's actually pretty fun. I was having a lot of fun with it. Like, I loved pausing time, running up, shooting a bunch of guys, and then the time would unfreeze and they'd all flop down dead. It's really fun, actually. You know, you fight in some future war, because of course you do, and you jump into an alternate reality after, in the beginning prologue cutscene, the suit is stolen, and I guess you're trying to prevent some sort of tragedy at this lab that exploded, but now you're just in this alternate reality, and you're helping this resistance group fight an oppressive group, and this giant robot keeps popping up and messing up everyone's day. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I didn't get far enough to like figure it out, but I didn't really care. I was just having a lot of fun shooting, and honestly, sometimes that's the most important part of a shooter. I mean, that is the most important part of the shooter, right? So this game, it plays closest to the Fear games, if you've ever heard of those. The enemy AI, it's not as smart as the Fear enemies, but they kind of bear resemblance to them. Like, you can shoot an enemy in this game and he'll like be knocked to the ground and he'll kind of feign death and he'll like get back up and shoot you and to like get a cheap shot. And I was, playing Fear, that's what the enemies do in Fear. They fake their deaths. This only in this game it's a bit more obvious that they're faking their death because they're kind of more like, oh, you got me, and they don't like ragdoll. But it's still pretty cool that it's there, and I did notice it. I really loved the battle sequences and pausing time. Like, I paused time, ran around an area, got control of a turret, and then like gunned down the enemies that I had outflanked. It's really cool. You can do some cool stuff in the battles. It's actually really well designed, and I think the only reason it's not as great as it can be is it's lower budget, and look, it's gray. It's really gray. It's really hard to see anything around you at all times. I think if this game had some better visuals and just wasn't gray, this game would be a lot better. Xbox wants $30 for this digitally if they don't put it on sale, but usually if it's on sale, I think it's around $3 to $5 every time. So honestly, if you guys see Time Shift for that amount of money, pick this game up if you have a Series X or an Xbox One. It's worth it, because I'm going to give Time Shift a score of 8 out of 10. Alright, so that's going to do it for the 5th episode of 3 Games, 3 Impressions. And if you're still here, thank you for watching. I am working on a longer video right now, so that's why I've missed a couple uploads in the past weeks. It's going to be about Final Fantasy 13. I'm currently on Disc 3. So I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend, or is going to enjoy the start of their weekend. It is currently Friday as I'm recording this. And I hope you're enjoying whatever game you're playing. I know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is out, and God, do I want to play that game, but I just can't right now. One day I will tackle more Final Fantasy content. And I have another episode of 3 Games, 3 Impressions planned, which I can't wait to film, but I'm going to finish my Final Fantasy 13 video first. So that might take a little bit, but I wanted to get a video out here just because I hadn't uploaded in a little bit. So see you in the next video, folks.